Harper One and HarperAudio present The Best Strangers in the World, Stories from a Life Spent Listening by Ari Shapiro. This is the author. For Mike, who doesn't read books but promises he'll listen to the audiobook of this one. Introduction. Thank you for listening. I became a public speaker in the first grade. In Fargo, North Dakota, my older brother and I were the only Jewish kids at our elementary school. And so every year at Christmas time, he and I would go from classroom to classroom with a menorah and a dreidel, explaining to children descended from Scandinavian immigrants what Hanukkah was. It was my first experience presenting to an audience, and also my first experience as a sort of ambassador, a storyteller, making the foreign seem a bit less strange. Somehow Fargo had not one but two synagogues in those days. My parents, who never wanted to be exclusionary, took us to the Reform Temple on Friday nights and the Orthodox Shul on Saturday mornings. My most vivid memories, naturally, are of the food. Dum-dum lollipops from Old Joe paper and pickled herring from a jar in the shul basement after services. My family kept kosher, so our meat was delivered once a month on a truck from Chicago that pulled into the synagogue parking lot, where we'd pick it up and load it into a deep freezer in the garage. For Shabbat dinner every Friday night, my mom made matzo ball soup and challah from scratch. My parents both taught at North Dakota State University, my mother in communications and my father in computer science. Visiting their offices meant walking past pastures and waving at the grazing cows. My dad would take me to his computer lab, which in the 1980s was a room filled to the edges with one enormous machine. I'd walk the perimeter of the hulking device and look at the blinking lights, wondering about the mysterious workings going on inside. When I was 8 years old in 1987, we left Fargo for Portland, Oregon, as the city was drenched in the unself-conscious pre-Portlandia weirdness of the late 20th century. If you've seen early Gus Van Sant films, like My Own Private Idaho and Drugstore Cowboy, that was the vibe. 5 years after we arrived, there was a ballot measure that would have allowed the state to, among other things, fire teachers for being gay. The language of Measure 9 lumped in homosexuality with pedophilia, sadism, and masochism. Most of us teenagers didn't know what those words meant. These were still pre-internet days. But thanks to the debate over Measure 9, everybody figured them out. All the kids at my big, mostly white suburban high school had an opinion about Measure 9, even though most of them had never knowingly met a gay person. They wore pins that read 9, that's N-E-I-N, on 9, that's N-I-N-E, or straight but not narrow. Congrats on your heterosexuality, bro. That was the world into which I came out of the closet at the end of my junior year. My decision to come out at 16 wasn't spurred by a secret boyfriend or even a specific crush. I wasn't living a double life. I just decided that I didn't ever want to live a double life. Once I realized that I would have to come out to my parents and friends someday, I concluded that I would gain nothing by postponing the inevitable. The sooner I do this, the sooner it will be over with, I told myself. And so I ripped off the Band-Aid and asked my parents if I could talk to them about something. Their reaction was more open-minded than many coming-out stories I've heard from the 1990s. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Well, we still love you. They asked if I wanted to see a therapist. I declined, and they decided that they would go see one themselves. I don't know whether I was actually the first openly gay student at Beaverton High School, but nobody could remember a teenager admitting it before. There had been rumors about me, of course, nothing specific. I hadn't even kissed a boy before I came out. But I decided that the best approach was to drown out the whisper campaign with a bullhorn. When I showed up for the first day of school senior year, I plastered my locker with postcards of hunky men, Tom of Finland drawings, and photographs by Herb Ritz and Tom Bianchi. On Halloween, I came to school
Sample complete. Ready to continue?